had the land purchased, but we didn't do anything for a while. So it took like a year before we could get it zoned, but we had it zoned to accept a church in 2016. So during this time, to get it zoned, we did have to have some engineering done, show how we're going to lay out the plans and everything. But during that time, we had some called Church in the Woods. For about a year, we were out. That's what we did for every week. We had just about the same time every week. So, and except until it got too hot. That was the problem, you know. Then we had a big issue. We had a tree crash into our place at over in the Rosewood existing center. So that pushed us through to say God wants us to move quicker. So we had to get out. So we had a blessing the land in 2017, and then we started clearing the land April 2018, which is actually, you know, where actually anything really started was actually about a year and a half ago. We received the building permit last July, a year ago, so it's only been a year since we got the permit, basically, to build the place. So we started right away with the foundation. We got steel last October going up. We had the roof erection, which we were lucky because, you know, it really took us like 2 months to find a structural steel contractor once we had the foundation up. So that was a delay, but by this year, about 2008, a year ago, we had the walls, the windows and doors starting to go in, and we had the framing going in this year to build the walls and everything. So Ken Tumlin and I worked out we did most of the framing. We had out here, and we stood at the front side of the window and figured out how to build the walls and attach it to the building. We had to figure everything out. In fact, yes, wisdom from heaven. You know, we had so the drywall, we found someone that actually helped give us the drywall at a third the price of a retail, and then on top of that offered to install it for us. That was a real blessing because we could never got anywhere we could if we hadn't had that happen. So we got the building found last July, and at that point we thought we could use the building, but there's still some more work to be done. So we had to finish the front of the building, the front of the drive, which happened in July. And August, we got everything finished now. We're just waiting on a few details with the city. So, okay, so let me give you a little bit of, we want to thank God for getting this to this place. There's some huge blessings. I want to thank God for these because nobody knows most of these blessings. We got the land at supplied a fraction of the original cost. It was like 30% of the original cost of the land. It just came upon us. We got an idea to build the place in stages because the original plan that God gave Pam was way out of line with what we could afford. So he gave me a plan to build it in stages. So this is one phase of a multi-phase project. We bought the steel building about a year before we actually erected it. We stored the pieces on site here as site work was going on. So I consider that a beautiful blessing just to be able to have everything still here when we got ready to build it. I mean, in fact, it's still here. Okay, we did a successful window design. Well, let me just explain what that window design installation was. The building didn't come with windows. We bought the windows aftermarket and installed it ourselves without any engineering approval. Ken said he's going to buy me a steak dinner if that gets through the building department. And it did.
He doesn't eat steak.
I don't eat steak. Yes, it could help. Anyway, that was a blessing. But more importantly, I think we were blessed with the building inspector and the fire marshal, because those guys gave us worked with us all the way through. In fact, the building inspector, the inspection on the first foundation that we had was his first week on the job here. And he worked with us all the way through, and in fact, by the end of the job, he had became the chief building inspector for DeLand, you know. So now I have someone I can talk to down there when I need something, you know. I mean, he won't give me any special. He tells me. He tells me what I need to do. But he just, you know, and when I ask him, he says, "Well, this is what you're going to need to do to get the pass." You know, he doesn't say you're a flunk or anything. He said, so the fire marshal came through. I mean, everybody said the fire marshal was terrible, but she came through, and not only didn't ask for extra stuff, which they usually do, but she actually let us get by without putting all these things that were on the original plans, you know, which in fact, you know, so I'm taking it as a blessing. I won't tell you all the things that she didn't let us do. But I felt like it was a blessing, and we want to praise her and bless her. More importantly, he provided expertise and resources as we went along. For instance, Ken was a licensed contractor. He brought him on just at the beginning of the project. We had people that knew, that kept, like the drywall guy that came on and gave us drywall when we needed and provided. We had Rick knew someone that knew a contractor that could. We were desperate because we couldn't get the land corrected. We couldn't get it leveled. We couldn't get the grade corrected to build this thing because the building was 4 feet higher than the rest of the project, and we had to get someone that had a laser gun and had a machine that could come in. Anyway, he showed up in just the right time and got us going. So I'm going to bless him for that. Okay. So now we're looking for the next phase of the project. We do need some more. We're asking now for a favor with the city to get us through this. The one thing we don't have is they don't want us to have this recycled asphalt out here for the paving. They want us to put real asphalt paving. And I've gotten the engineer involved, and I've gotten the local head of the inspection company here involved to talk with the people downstairs to try to come up with some kind of plan that we don't have to rip everything out and put everything back in. So we can pray for favor for that, you know, because not only is it, I don't want to do it, but it's expensive, you know. Yes. So that's the next part. And then we have future. I mean, that's the idea that Pam came up with. So
The original vision 20 years ago.
So we're in the first phase of that. We're in the long bottom leg of it. The center will be a geodesic dome that has some kind of skylight at the top. So it kind of like it's a chapel area. Then you have 3 legs to it at the top. Each leg's a different function of Rosewood Center. So that's a dream. That's the next dream. But we're
Believing for that.
you're believing for that because even the first leg was a dream. You know.
What's in the center?
That's a geodesic dome. It's going to be. It doesn't look like it there, but yes, you can describe. But it's going to be a dome that has a chapel in the center. It's kind of it's a small chapel, not very big. It's just for small groups, small prayer. But it has a little entrance, has a little hallway inside to get to all the other legs. So it's more of a connecting piece to the rest of the legs. Anyway, that's next. Okay, that's all. Okay, so next phase of project continuing. Okay. Okay.
There are a few stories here, while we're waiting for that to get them ready, this carpet. God did give me that vision, way 20 years ago. Okay. And Curtis drew a diagram of it, as you saw there. That's the diagram. And, yes. Oh, that's fine. Well, there was one. I have it still in a closet somewhere. Anyway, it laid in the closet for years. Okay. Obviously 20 years or almost. But, that was there. And when God gave us this property, he said, we said, what do you want us to do now with the property? Because we had forgotten about the building. About the picture. Okay, that part of it. And so we said, remember that picture I gave you a long time ago? Get it out. Okay. Oh, okay. So I go and it's in the closet. Okay. So I take it out. I say, okay. He said, there. That's the building. That's what you're going to build on that property. It's going to be an apostolic center. Okay. So I tell Curtis, okay, God said we're going to build that. And remember that picture? We're going to build that. So he puts together a picture, that picture, okay, in the size that he thinks we can afford to build on this property. Oh, that would fit between the tree, whatever it is. Okay. All right. So that's what he tells me. Fine. I go to bed shows me that. I go to bed that night, and in the night, God tells me, you got to tell Curtis that picture that he's drawn, or that diagram that he's drawn is too small. I know nothing, right? I know nothing about these things. So I say to God in the dream, God, how big do you want it? So he tells me a number. He gives me an amount, okay? Again, I know nothing. Okay, so I get up the next morning and say, God told me to tell you that the building that you designed is too small. So he says to me, how big should it be? So I tell him what God said, and he says, what? Have you any idea? He said, we could not build that building. It's, all right.
Acre.
Yeah, it's an acre. It's fits in an acre of land. All right, so again, God says to me, tell Curtis he can build the building in pieces. So he says to me, so I tell him that. He says, Pam, there's no way to build a building in pieces. You can either build a building, he's a builder, right? You only build a building or you don't build a building. You can't build a building in pieces. All right, so sure enough, he goes out and he prays about it. He comes back and he has that vision from God. God just showed me how to build the building in pieces. So those are some of the stories of how the building got. Okay, so here are Tiffany and Sean Downs and their story about Uganda and such and such. And again, thank you. Who wants this?
Hey everyone, I'm Sean. This is Tiffany, if you couldn't already guess that. So we're going to start out by introducing our Ugandan team. So we have them live on the line right now. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining so late. Just give me 1 second and get you guys presented to the team here.
This is actually
Yeah, this is live in Uganda. So, and sorry for all the technology issues that we've been having. Of course. Is it on the right source?
Same one we had.
There we go.
Hey everyone. Hey. Well, they can't see you guys yet. Hang on 1 second. Hey. So, yeah. So this is Pastor Noah.
yes.
Hey Noah and team. So, thank you guys so much for joining so late. Just to let everybody know in the room, it's pretty late there right now. And they're actually having lighting issues. So we're going to go ahead and let them share for a minute. But this is live direct from Uganda. This is the training site. So we will go ahead and share the room here. So you guys can see yourselves in the bottom right-hand corner. Just keep in mind that there's a pretty big delay. So, yeah. Okay, so Pastor Noah, if you want to just introduce yourself and give some words.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
We need more.
Hello.
We are still putting together our stock. Yeah.
Okay. They're still putting together their.
Praise the Lord.
There they are.
Yes, praise the Lord.
Now we come to you. Now we come to you from Uganda.
Yes.
And we appreciate so much for the Rosewood Apostolic Center partnering up with the Management Institute and partnering up with us in Uganda. I am Pastor Noah. I happen to be the coordinator of the Bible School and the chairman for the board.
Yes. Chairman for the board.
In the background, they are members of the board who have been able to make it at this time. We still expect more to join us. And we are praying and believing God. On Tuesday next week, we roll out the Bible training. And we see how the Lord will lead us. As the Lord spoke to us here, that we should not despise the beginning of small things.
There we go.
It looks like a humble beginning, but we are trusting the Lord. His purpose and His will be established.
Yes, amen. Amen.
Here, our elections are not reliable. So, we shall need a standby generator and some subsidy financially to take care of the students. We have estimated it will cost each person approximately $8 to $9 per day. That includes the accommodation and feeding. So just pray together with us in that area. Although we have told our people to come with some contribution, the challenge we have here is nobody tells you you're coming. It just shows up. Yeah, this is Africa. Just shows up. That makes some coming. Nobody confirms. Then we expect a lot of people, they come very few. But you expect a few, they come many. And once they're on the site, you cannot chase them away. They say we have come to study. So that's the challenge we are facing. Let me invite Pastor Thomas to come and say hi.
Hello.
Hello, Rosewood 20th. We are so happy to celebrate with you 20 years. We are so happy to be part of you on this day when we see what began so humbly eventually being realized as a dream come true.
Amen.
My name is Kuni Thomas, a student in Inama Bible School, Uganda, and a member in the board. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Bless you. Thank you. This is his wife, Stella.
What's your name?
Stella.
I'm Stella, and executive. Yes, I'm excited to be here and to be part of the celebration of the 20 years of Rosewood Center. In Uganda, we are highly expectant of the Mana Bible School, which is going to begin. And I'm happy to be part of them. God bless you. I'm acting as the registrar here in Uganda. May God bless you.
God bless you.
Bless you. Thank you.
She's the school registrar.
Praise God. Thank you for bringing Mana Bible College to Uganda. We are happy and excited. And I'll be part of this team. And we are looking forward to see what the Lord will do. And students who will be trained, we know that we will never be the same. Thank you for being with us and supporting this noble cause. The Lord bless you. Happy anniversary.
Yes, thank you.
Come and say hi. God bless you. How are you there?
We're here.
Hello.
I'm just seeing the mood you are in as you are making 25 years, 20 years. It's an honor for us. We are just like, I can just figure it out, where you have reached and what you have been going through. It is really amazing. Sometimes we can start something and just on the way there, it stops somewhere. But if you are still in existence and you are back extended up to us here, we are being part of the blessing. We are being part of what God is doing. It's really a blessing. Thank you for allowing us to be part, because we are like part and parcel. Whatever is happening there, we are seeing it now.
Amen.
We are sorry we are a bit dark. Maybe not because of the color, but even because of the focus. Just allow it to. God bless you, and God bless you indeed. I'm part of the school. I'm a member of the board. I'm a leader in the city, and as well as a student of Mana Bible School.
Amen.
God bless you once again.
God bless you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Joshua might introduce himself.
So that was Pastor Edmund. The man before him was Pastor James, and he's going to be the academic dean.
Okay.
And this is Joshua, I think.
This is our tech person over in Uganda.
He's my brother over there.
Yep.
Hello.
You just get back on the machine.
There we go.
Yeah, run the machine.
Good afternoon and praise the Lord. I'm glad to be part of your 20th celebration as Rosewood Ministries. By the name, I'm called Joshua Mwamut Magalo, the technical man. What you're all seeing behind the scenes, I'm the one behind them.
Yes, amen. Yes.
Thanks for that.
That's Pastor Noah's son.
We rejoice together with you and with us 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
It's a short period. But what I'm saying, we are getting, yeah.
Sorry, there's a long delay.
Okay. What I was saying is that we are glad that at the 20th anniversary, we have been born by Rosewood Apostolic Center. We are just a baby. And this is very remarkable to us, that at 20 years, Rosewood launched the southbound over the continent of the States to come to Africa and Uganda in particular. I believe this seed has been planted. We just need to water it, and God will give him the increase.
Yes, amen.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of what is happening at a time like this. May the Lord bless you. Over to you, please.
Bless you. Amen.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And Tiffany will be in touch. Thank you. Just if you don't mind messaging them, let them know that. All right. Yeah, can you? No problem. Can you switch the input back?
Yep.
Yes. So that was our Uganda team. Obviously, language and distance are going to be an issue, but yeah. Yes. Yeah, the funny thing about the internet connection is that it's not on their end. We're using a satellite connection here, and so that's where the delay is introduced. So we're actually bouncing a connection off of satellites, and then that's being bounced back to them. And so it's just taking a while. But whenever we do the training, we're going to do the training at a different location, and so the internet will be a lot faster and a lot more clear. But we definitely wanted to introduce the team to you guys. And let you see that we're actually working with people, and obviously, Dr. Pam, Pastor Curtis, Pastor George in the back has been extremely instrumental in helping us wire up everything in Uganda and Africa. We definitely could not have done it without you. And then my wife obviously is teaching and doing stuff as well. So I'm just in the background, like Joshua said. So anyway, this is our Ugandan mandate. We're going to bring holistic healing and training to the nations, as Pam said, as a part of the vision for Rosewood. It's not just for Central Florida; it's for the nations. It's really funny how this got started. As Pam mentioned, we were contacted by somebody in Uganda, and that was Pastor David. And the funny thing about that is that we're no longer talking with him anymore. Somehow that relationship disintegrated, but we had already initiated with Pastor George, and because of Pastor George's connections, we got hooked up with Pastor Noah and his team, and we're still hoping to bring in Pastor David. We're really not sure what happened there, but we're gonna try to pursue that relationship because Dr. Pam has spent a lot of time in communication with him and has built a relationship with him, and we want to continue that. However, through God's grace and God's power, the mandate has continued regardless of any kind of miscommunication or degradation of anything. So as Pam mentioned, we started meeting earlier this year, something on this scale I've never done before. I don't think anybody has, except for Pastor George maybe. So we've been meeting for quite a long time, trying to get all of the details put together, and I think everyone has put in a lot of extra effort in making sure that this mandate is pushed forward. One of the biggest things is that we sent a trip to Uganda. Tiffany got this dress from Uganda, and so Tiffany and Pam and Pastor George all, Curtis went as well. So Curtis was my eyes and ears on the ground there, setting things up. But what I was going to say is that the three of these also did. They gave talks. They did a small conference in Uganda, and also went to several churches and spoke while they were there. So we are there. I think there's absolutely a hunger and a need for this. And with that trip, it was not only was Curtis instrumental in getting the site set up and making sure that we had all the equipment that we needed to do this. To do the live conferencing, but we also reached out and met with several of the people that will be teaching as well through these presentations and everything. So the next step, the one that's not in green yet, is we're going to start training on Tuesday. So please be in prayer with that. We've already done a kind of a dry run. So Dr. Pam has reached out and kind of put together testing the system with a live interpreter on their end. And so even though the delay will be better, there still will be a delay. However, having an interpreter there's going to be a step in there that adds a delay anyway. So with the interpreter involved, the entire cycle smoothed out. I do this for a living. I work with teams all over the world, and we do software development. So I understand the complexities involved here and how difficult this can be whenever you're crossing language barriers and you're crossing distance barriers. And I think God has really put it in place to where we have all of the interpreters that we need, all of the technology that we need, and the flow is gonna run smoothly. I mean, like I said, we did the dry run and it went very well. So that everything starts Tuesday. And then we plan on expanding this further as well. So I was hoping to show the website, but it's fine. We can, you guys can just check it out. It's if you want information on the actual Manna Bible online website, just let me know and I can share information with you. But we are planning on taking this to the nations. So Tiffany is pursuing a degree in online education, and we have vision to get accreditation in many places all over the world, including the United States. So we're going to have university accreditation to be able to hand out real degrees, as well as, I mean, the mandate has always been to heal and